Okay, remember that they're changing my voice? I'm not gay, and white supremacists and Jewish supremacists are playing themselves out by changing the sound of my voice. It's very stupid for them to do that. It's very mature, reflects poorly on their genes, what have you. White supremacists stand for the opposite of what America stands for. America is supposed to be the land of the free, where over time it corrected its mistakes, where white supremacists want to take you to a time of tribalism and sheer stupidity. And they're very much active right now, and they control pretty much the whole country right now. And they like to sink to the pathetic, sissy level of just blaming the Jews. Jews, when you're talking about Jews, right? You know, when you're talking about white Jews, if they're supremacists, they are white supremacists. They are just white Jewish supremacists, as opposed to white English supremacists, white German supremacists, what have you. They are white Jewish supremacists. But the problem here is the greater category of white supremacists. And they are dumb, right? They commit to stupid things. They make stupid arguments. Okay, they have stupid brute force tactics at times to try to make up for the lack of intelligence, for their lack of having a wise argument, what have you. And they refuse to correct their mistake. They're like the stereotype of a dumb, poor, inbred trailer park person who just keeps being a dumbass every day, except for the main white supremacists are rich. Quite often they have fancy degrees. They are arrogant idiots. And so when we look at the contrast between me and them, so they might have some fancy degree, what have you. And I'm mostly self-taught. For years and years and years, self-taught as the son of 2 doctors, a brain surgeon, son of the top martial arts. So they're pointing to their white supremacist system, saying, look at my fancy degree from my white supremacist system in school. And I'm pointing to the fact that I'm the top martial artist, okay, and the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon and a humanitarian. Now when it comes to debate, who's hiding from who? They're hiding from debating me, knowing that my social status is higher than theirs. They're just another PhD, another person with a master's degree, another rich boy, another spoiled brat. But I'm the top martial artist. And everyone knows martial arts is about mental development. And that is the valid scale for who is smarter than who is who's the top martial artist. That's the true scale of intelligence. Everything else is just being scaled at this or that. The martial arts has to do with mental, spiritual, and physical development, with an emphasis on mental and spiritual. So when we look at the situation, white supremacists lie about even that. And they try to prevent you from coming to that conclusion. They're trying to prevent you from living in reality. Now, how are you free? How do you become free in society? You have to live in reality, right? If somebody locks you in prison and says, pretend that you're free. Are you free? No. Freedom has to do with being free in reality, not pretending to be free. That's pretending to be free. That's not the same thing. Who would have thought, right? The next major enemy of freedom is LGBT supremacy, right? LGBT supremacists, LGBT fanatics, especially rich ones, cause a lot of problems. And if you didn't notice, then you're insane. Why there's all these people starving, all these people being abused in the world, people weren't commonly talking about how to end world hunger, and it's a lot easier to end than you might think. But they were focused on trannies and sports. They were focused on gender-neutral bathrooms and males in the females' locker room and child sex changes. Things that should not be a problem because they shouldn't be occurring. Okay, they came out of left field and said they want to create an LGBT world so much they don't care who's suffering, who's dying. They want you to focus on their relatively insignificant issue. I mean, think about it. Honestly, be honest. I'm honest all the time. Be honest. What's more important? Whether or not trannies can play in sports or feeding the 9 million people who starve to death every year, and keep in mind 3 million of them are children. LGBT fanatics come together to try to make people gay, and they get caught all the time raping children and get arrested, and lots of them operate with relative impunity. That's their concern. And there's not like 3 or 4 of them in San Francisco or something. They're everywhere. There are millions of LGBT supremacists. If even only 10% of LGBT people in the world were LGBT supremacists, that'd be somewhere around 72 million people. 72 million. If even only 1% were LGBT supremacists, that'd be 7.2 million. Now, why is this important? It's important because when your rights are being taken away, keep in mind I'm part white. I'm from California where there's a lot of LGBT people. I'm not gay, I'm not LGBT, but I'm from one of the main LGBT places on the planet. Okay? And I hope they do the right thing. I'm just telling the truth here. These are the facts here. LGBT supremacy hurts LGBT people just like white supremacy hurts white supremacists. It hurts their souls. It causes violence. It messes up the economy and on and on and on. They're forcing people to do things they don't want to do. There's rape and sexual coercion, rape by deception, on and on, all these forms of rape, and it causes a lot of problems. Any LGBT person who isn't 100% against LGBT supremacy is just as bad as a white person who's not 100% against white supremacy. It's straightforward. Now, I don't want to go on and on about that, but to make a long story short, they have the same problem as white supremacists, right? A stupid commitment, stupid arguments, stupid brute force enforcement, okay, and they refuse to correct their mistakes. And there are tens of millions of them, conservatively speaking. There are tens of millions of LGBT supremacists in the world, and many of them live right here in America. And they are disproportionately wealthy and influential. They're in the tech sector. They're involved in the mind control programs disproportionately. What have you? Even the word game is a play on words for gay, and the second word is me, and I'm not gay, but that's, and it's mage scramble. So you have the gay mage trying to make you like them, right? This like a me, right? Me kind of thing, right? Okay. So the next category is occultists. Occultists, man, are they so stupid. It's unbelievable that so many people are so dumb. I know there's a bunch of white Jew and LGBT supremacists trying to coerce you into kind of playing a role and making yourself look stupid, and it's sad. I'm sorry that you don't think that you should face these people more than I'm sorry that, that's happening. Because you're supposed to face these people if it kills you and your family, not conform. That's what it means to be an adult, to make those kind of decisions. A human being will say, I'm not going to do that because it's wrong. And they're not going to let people coerce them every generation using their families, saying to them that they're going to hurt their families if they don't do that. So they just keep doing it, keep every generation, keep popping up, doing. So you're going to enslave your families every generation, for all forever, because you don't want to face your oppressor, and you and your family's going to be complicit with mass murder, mass rape, child molestation, on and on, forever, for all you know. Because you don't want to face your oppressor and stand firm and cause your family to be wiped out in one generation. That's much preferred. The human being looks at that and says, that's infinitely greater than generations of complicity with Satanism, what have you. After screening out the righteous, saying, hey, now the world is ours, guys, yay. Okay, that is sick. That's why Scarface in the movie, Scarface? He had that big globe that says the world is yours. Okay, he did cocaine like you wouldn't believe. Okay, he sniffed line after line after line because it's a dumbass who wants to take over the world in an immoral way. It's that simple. The occultists are dumb. Crowley, H.P. Lovecraft, look up these people. Dumber than hell. Blavatsky, she looks like she's demented, like a complete idiot. Witches? What are you, a green-faced Halloween witch with a hat and a broom? That is so childish, so pathetic. Doing love spells instead of being a woman and, trying to make your pitch to a man as a grown person, or you're a lesbian witch trying to turn people out. Comparing your magic broom, to a, quote unquote magic broom to a strap-on or a dildo. This is what's going on. It's sad to have to talk about these things. It's disturbing. Some people think it's inappropriate, but that's what's going on here. And they're turning out kids. It is very sick. Occultists are complete punks. They're betas, they are sissies, they are pansies, they are weirdos. The chaos magic of Freud and Jung, right? Shadow psychology, it is so stupid. It is painful to see how stupid they are. And all this paganism, I'm not trying to break the rules on YouTube here, so I'm going to leave it there. Moving on to point number 4 is Jewish supremacists. Oh boy, Jewish supremacists. Now some Jews are cool, right?
historically, some nice Jewish ladies, what have you. There's Jews in my family, okay? You know? But when people are misbehaving past a certain point, the righteous man chastises them, right? It's even in the Bible, the Old Testament. Better is open rebuke than love that is concealed, than hidden love, what have you. Okay, so when Adam Sandler and Bo Rat and Bibi Netanyahu and Ben Bernanke, okay, get naked in the woods in an occult ritual and hold each other's dicks and say that they're superior to everyone else, the same person calls bullshit. Big time. Big time. That is fucking retarded. Do you know how stupid that is? Harry Potter? Because you don't want to face the reality of who you are, your mind, body, soul, and spirit. You think the answer is to do witchcraft like the white supremacists, okay, and try to be a Zion Nazi, for example, or a liberal who pretends to oppose cruelty and evil, who's actually some kind of witchcraft occultist, a Jewish supremacist, someone who twists the Bible and the Torah and the Tanakh. They use the Kabbalah and the Talmud, and there's that's insane. That is crazy. And some of these people get mad, they hack my phones, they put some funny noises in there. Oh no, fume him. Try to make it so he seems weird. Try to make it so it seems weird. Okay, it's stupid. It is unbelievably stupid. You know how crazy people would have to be? No offense to anybody, this has to be said. People have to snap out of their crazy occult spill state of mind. You know how crazy people would have to be to believe that Jews are chosen or superior to everyone else. Okay? Is your argument that autistic people are chosen? Is autism misunderstood? That retards are, people with developmental disorders? People with Down syndrome? No, fucking stupid they would have to be. I'm not trying to bash the Jewish people, not trying to insult people. Sometimes in order to get better, you have to inflict some pain. It's like working out, right? You work out, it's hard to jog. So, okay, you need to wake up and realize that it is fucking retarded to be a Jewish supremacist. You need to stop doing what you're doing. Fools mock at making amends for sin, but goodwill is found among the upright. Through love and faithfulness, sin is atoned for, not from playing stupid and continuing down that path. And keep in mind, I don't want to confuse these things, mind you. After my flesh dies, there'll be no way for people to connect to God, Jew or Gentile alike. I've said it many times before. I'll say it again. The racial competition is over. By 2017 or so, it was clearly over. Now it's just people hooked to a machine, people cheating in the next week, massive networks of cheating, data centers, AI, brain hacking, robot. It is so over. Cancel culture, there is no valid racial competition. It's just who has the character to kind of say, even though I'm sabotaged, you know that I'm a good person. Look at my life work, right? As water reflects the face, someone's life reflects the heart. The next category is feminists. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I remember one of the first videos I made about feminism, I was very angry. I was just infuriated. I was like, I can't believe that you're teaching females to shun the good guy and teaching them to hate males. And then you get these people saying, oh, that's a misconception. Okay? That's like saying, I can't believe that the Nazis were experimenting on Jews. And not all of them were doing it. Great, lovely, not all of them were doing it. But they're part of this label, this category, this movement to cause all kinds of harm for selfishness, for some kind of occult state of mind. Look up how many feminists are witches. Look up how many of them are LGBT. Look at how many of them are very angry people, okay? You have no reason to believe that that label is something that a decent female wants to have. And so the disagreement isn't over whether or not there were decent females historically. My disagreement with feminism is whether or not there's very few decent females left, partially because of feminism being one of the main philosophies that you find among females. Okay, and a lot of them are leftists, right? There's also conservative feminists. So why is there a need to change, including women changing, okay, if feminism is such a good thing? Like every female is a feminist these days. Why are they sheeple? Why are they groupies? Why are they sluts at such high? Why are they gold diggers sleeping with their boss? Why are they shunning Jesus and so on and so forth? It's just a catastrophic failure. Point number 6 is cowards. People need to stop acting like pansies, right? Pan means all. For all the Greco-Roman deities, a pansy, you see things the way your oppressor does, right? The Club of Rome, the Greek frats in college, the Masons and their Greek mythology discussion.
So the phone cut out. I was saying the Masons with their homoerotic Greek society discussions. Okay, obviously what they're doing is wrong. Now, they're doing a lot of things to interfere with my video now, so I'm gonna have to end it here. You see that background noise? Okay, it's not a coincidence. It seems to be coming from the trees and some kind of technology they're using to disrupt my videos. That kind of high-pitched buzzing noise. And before I end this video, I wanted to say that, homosexuality is a sin. I'll be talking a lot more about that because there's a bunch of gay people throwing fits who are interrupting in a very obnoxious and childish way. And they are very much supported by the governing class. This is something coming from the governing class. And they're doing all kinds of just immature coward stuff, trying to make my videos harder to listen to, trying to make it so I sound weird, stumble on my words. I mean, it's very sick, it's very sick, like gay porn, very, very sick and deranged and disturbing, and it's a good thing I don't watch it. But I can tell you that, the average person who's been watching porn to some degree has stumbled across some still images, and that's enough, like it was with me, to know for sure that it's something that is profoundly disturbing, and society should stop at nothing to do something about it.